Ladies and gentlemen, we're here.
I'm part of the Kliq, isn't everybody?
Yes! 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 I got an idea, yeah. Beat up John Cena!
Give me a hell yeah!
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Too sweet! This is where the power lies!
I am the man.
If you can survive!
It's showtime, folks!
The following episode is scheduled for one fall, and it is for your listening pleasure. This is In The Kliq.
What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me, I guess I could say, is my new good brother from the pro wrestling media. I guess that's the right title. I don't know, I'm just making it up as we go. But joining me right now from WrestleRant, it's Graham GSM Matthews. How's it going, man?
Huey, doing great, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And I do think good brother would be the right way to go about it. I agree with that title.
And that's the thing. So obviously with a podcast called In The Kliq, I would think anyone who appears on this podcast is a part of the family, part of the Kliq, part of we're all good brothers here. So everyone that's on here, I always say is my good brother or good sister. Actually,
Goes both ways.
Exactly. But for anyone listening right now who maybe, heard the name or heard the, your work before, but just to run it down. So, WrestleRant, that is like your main baby, like your whole brand, I guess you could say, right? Is that your whole show, your whole universe?
Pretty much, yeah. So that's like, originally I've been doing a website for the last decade plus, since 2010. Originally was called Next Era Wrestling. That's what I had it called for literally the first 10 years up until last year. And I just renamed it to WrestleRant. Because WrestleRant was the name of my Twitter for the longest time. Mm-hmm. I've done my radio show, WrestleRant Radio, for close to 10 years now. It's on 8 years. We're closing it on 10. That's been WrestleRant Radio for the last 8 years. Before that, I was doing a show called WrestleRant on YouTube. That was like my main YouTube thing. So I was doing all these things called WrestleRant. That was like my main brand. And then I'm like, why isn't my website just WrestleRant? Like, it makes a lot more sense. And it was actually my girlfriend that brought it up to me, like, well, why is it called Next Era Wrestling if you have WrestleRant? I'm like, that's a great point. Okay. So I had to pursue that and then get the domain for it. It was a whole process, but I ended up securing it, and everything WrestleRant is now officially mine. So that's my main brand, main baby, like you said, Huey. But that's been like my thing for the last 10 years, I would say, in various forms. And I just kind of take that and kind of apply it to everything I do.
That's awesome. So, and just to let all the Kliqsters know, I mean, obviously follow you on Twitter at WrestleRant. And then your work is, I've seen between all the interviews you've been doing lately, you do a ton of them. Amazing job. Shout out to Jacob Fatu, Bay Area boy. That's my dude. He's out here. We always hang out at the local wrestling shows when I see him,
awesome.
Performing. Yeah, dude, it's awesome. The former MLW champion is out here.
Yeah.
But your work, is seen also on Bleacher Report, What Culture, and Fanside DDT. Am I right? Am I missing anything else? Damn.
Yeah, I contribute to sports betting them as well. It's basically a wrestling. I mean, it's sports betting, but wrestling was included on that as well. So I do all the betting predictions and stuff like that before the big pay-per-views. But yeah, it's mainly the first three. Fanside of Daily DDT, as you mentioned, What Culture, and Bleacher Report as well for the past 10 years. I've been with Bleacher Report since 2010. Since I was a freshman in high school. So it's been a long time.
What? Wait a second. Yeah. How old are you?
I'm just 26. I'm trying to think how old I am, but
oh my God. Well, that's awesome. Crazy. Okay, dude. More power to you for killing it in the wrestling world at such a younger age. Here I am. I'm going to be 38 in 2 weeks. So just full disclosure. I know, dude.
That's crazy.
We have a quick little side note. We have I have a new big boss that started about 6 months ago, and we were talking, and I introduced myself, and he's like, "How old are you?" or he's like, how long you been working here at the radio station? I said, 16 years. He's like, wait, how old are you? I said, 37. He's like, wait, I thought you were 27. I was like, all right, I'll take that as a compliment. So
yeah, it is a compliment. I would have said the same thing. I mean, age obviously doesn't matter. Nothing's too young or too old, but no, that is crazy though. I thought we were like, you know, in the same like thing, you know, when I met you a couple months ago at SummerSlam.
Yeah. So, well, that's the thing. You know, for me, like, I'm at the point where I'm like, man, like, I'm about to be 38. But then again, I look back, I'm like, I really did grow up in like that sweet spot of.
You really did, yeah.
When I was really young, I grew up in the late 80s with, you know, the rock and roll WWF era of them and Hulkamania, all that stuff. And then obviously lived through the whole new generation. But then in my middle school, high school years was the Attitude Era. And just, I mean, living through all that was just so much fun. And my college years was the whole Ruthless Aggression era. So I was so busy with school, I wasn't watching as much. And I keep saying this on the podcast. If I ever have like more time, I want to do like bonus episodes. I want to go back and rewatch the Ruthless Aggression era, like the big pay-per-views, and try to catch up on things I might have missed or didn't see as much. But nonetheless, and then obviously been a fan, obviously, through all the more recent years, just the last 10 plus years with just all the craziness of CM Punk, you know, rise of him, everything. So I tell myself that it's like, okay, don't feel so bad. You know, you're older now, but you lived in so many great decades.
No, this is not a bad thing at all. Yeah, no, not at all.
But no, that's the thing I wanted to touch on was, as you just mentioned. So yeah, we met at SummerSlam. God, I can't believe it's been a couple months already in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And that's partly why I wanted to get you on. I wanted to let all the Kliqsters know just how awesome of a dude you are. And something that I really appreciate, call me old fashioned. So, you guys know, I've been covering WrestleManias, off and on for years. And, normally in the past I would go with Jimbo to these shows, but this year I went by myself. And I tell you, despite as many press events that I've covered and big events, this time around, full disclosure, I felt like the new kid in school. There's so many great wrestling personalities and media people out there who are just killing it, doing a lot of great stuff. And I saw a lot of them there, but I still felt like the new kid. And so, did my thing at the press junket, jump ahead to the next day, SummerSlam, and go to the press box. And I sit down, I'm doing my thing, and, and just kudos to you. You just reached over, introduce yourself. I was like, that was awesome. That was nice. I appreciate the nice gesture. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely, man. No, thank you for being so kind and welcoming. I mean, I told you this before we started recording. I told you at the time, but I just want to preface it out there. I mean, we talked about the whole process of the press box at these wrestling shows and how it differs to other sporting events and stuff. But, if I'm going crazy because it's SummerSlam, we're bound to see some cool moments. Just going to give you a heads up. If I start screaming right next to you, I just want to let you know what you're sitting next to, and I'm not a crazy person. So, I was in the same boat. I wasn't really there with a group of people. I wasn't going to meet up with there was a couple of people I said hi to and talked to beforehand, but no one that was like sitting next to and was going to be interacting with the whole time. And it's a long show. So just in case anything cool happens, you want to have that someone next to you to like kind of share that moment with, and you were that person for me. So like I said before, we wouldn't have had this conversation had we not met at SummerSlam. So it's awesome.
Exactly. So thank you, Vince McMahon, for bringing SummerSlam to Las Vegas, for bringing us together. That's ultimately what we're getting at here. But,
exactly.
But that's the thing. I mean, we both got excited when Brock Lesnar returned. And
absolutely.
Dude, like the video you shot got like what, 5 million views within like a couple days? Is that what
I was gonna say? Yeah. So it's funny you mention that because you're literally sitting right next to me. I don't have a fancy camera. You're not even supposed to take video of this shit, obviously, but I do it anyway. So, and if it gets taken down, it gets taken down. So I take a video at every show that I go to. I always try to take a couple videos and then put it up on YouTube and whatever. And if it gets taken down, it's all copyright stuff. I don't own any of the footage. I'm just using it with my phone. It gets taken down, whatever. That one I put up along with a bunch of other videos. I don't have a fancy camera I just use my iPhone. And I took the video of Brock coming out. I figured something might happen. So I took a video of the ending to the Roman Reigns John Cena match, kept it rolling. You always keep it rolling. You never know what might happen.
Yeah.
Brock's music hits. I lose my shit. I'm screaming on the video. A bunch of comments about that in the comment of the video. Of course, I totally understand. And and it just blew up. So I posted it, and I knew when I was there because we're sitting in the press box. I'm thinking, I'm here. I'm not going to be leaving here. I won't be back in my hotel for another couple hours. And we're also on the West Coast. So I'm an East Coast guy. So it's the show had ended at 9 West Coast time. It ended at like midnight East Coast. Yeah. So I'm thinking to maximize this, and I never really think this way. I usually post stuff a couple days later. Okay. I got to post this as soon as possible. All right. So as soon as the event ended, it was like me. Everyone had left. Aside from a couple of other people I already knew from Sportskeeda, they were doing like a post show or something. So I'm thinking, okay, if they're still here on their laptop doing work, then I can stay here too. So I was doing some other stuff, but I uploaded it on my phone in the background, published it, went to bed, wake up, and I have like 800 more subscribers. The video blows up to like 50,000 views, which is a lot. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And then like I'm checking every hour. 100,000 by the end of a couple hours later, 500,000 views. And what is going on here? And it got to like 1 million, like you said, it ended up getting to over 5 million views before it ended up getting taken down by WWE.
Oh, it did get taken down?
It did get taken down within like maybe, I don't know, it was a week. It was probably closer to like 2 weeks later. Yeah. But the one thing I'm thankful for is that they left it up. I mean, the fact that it got taken down wasn't really surprising because the bigger the video gets, the more attention it's going to get. So it's going to get taken down. I understand that. But they left it up there for 2 weeks. Because they left it up there for 2 weeks, I get all the views from it. I don't make a cent off of it because it's not my footage, but I don't really care about that. I got all the views from it. And I got like literally 20,000 subscribers from that one video on YouTube. And that stuff doesn't go away just because the video is gone. So I benefited. I squeezed every last drop out of that video. 5 million views. So it was incredible, but that was one of the many highlights of that weekend. But to make a short story long, it was a very fun night. That's
awesome because that way you reap the benefits like long term. So people who subscribe, then like all your future projects and things you upload and post. Yeah, you got the number of subscribers. So yeah, it helped for you. That's great though. That's awesome. I mean, I'm just wondering like, why would they take it down? I guess because they want people to go to Peacock and watch it instead of just watch on YouTube.
Because it is all copyrighted stuff. I don't know if it's like some person who worked and like obviously no one that we would deal with, but like it's someone on like their other team that looks for this type of stuff on YouTube. And again, they even say at the beginning of the shows, like, they don't want you taking videos. Everyone takes videos anyway. Most people put it on Snapchat and Instagram and what. I just put it on the fucking, I'm old fashioned. I'm just going to upload it to YouTube. And if it gets like 100 views or something, they're not going to really go out of their way to take it down. But if it blows up, they get more aware of it. Like one of the PR people the next morning, or a couple days later, I was leaving Vegas. And we're talking about like, we were scheduling an interview and he goes, hey, congrats by the, I saw that Brock video. Like, congrats on getting like 3 million views. I'm like, if this guy is seeing it, then that means it blew up, that it was on like everyone's recommended page for like a week if you were a wrestling fan. So that says a lot. I was thinking like, I hope he doesn't ask me to take it down, but he didn't care at all, which is funny. But yeah, no, it was a hilarious experience to say the least.
Well, I'm shocked because I guess because, people can watch the footage on Peacock. So I guess maybe it blew up because they wanted to see more of the overall stadium's reaction to Brock's return. Like I was trying to understand like, what made that video so special that it blew up, because it was just like seeing the whole crowd erupt. Because that was
That's what people do. They type in, I mean, I'm guilty of this. They type in, because they don't have Peacock, or they're not even a wrestling fan, or they just heard Brock Lesnar come back. They just type in Brock Lesnar reaction or Brock Lesnar returns. They just want to see it, and they don't want to like go out of their way to watch it. People love, and I'm guilty of this, people love watching crowd reactions. They want to go back, and not just on the show, but like watching it from someone that was there to see how people around them react. And the part that was great for us was that we were in the press box. We're not among the many fans that were there, but we did have the window open. And like we were basically in the crowd without actually being in the crowd. We had an awesome atmosphere, because there were many comments in the video that were like, why can you hear the commentary? And I had to respond to a bunch of people saying, well, there were TVs above us that were, I can hear Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. So it was great.
No, thank you for saying that. And that's the thing too. I posted on Twitter, Becky Lynch's surprise return.
Yes.
And a lot of people were like, wait, why are you hearing the commentary? I'm like, I'm in the press box. The TVs are right above our heads playing the network.
It's such the vast minority, so people would never even think that,
Yeah. I mean, it's such an inside thing, or trying to explain the press box setup.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. So, no, such a fun weekend, and looking forward to, hopefully you and I can do another big show soon. I'm already eyeballing. I've done all the big four. I've done a Survivor Series, done WrestleMania, SummerSlam now. That was my first SummerSlam. Royal Rumble, I don't know, if I can make it work next year. I mean, definitely Texas for WrestleMania is my next goal.
Absolutely.
And then Money in the Bank in Las Vegas again. I'm like, oh, I gotta maybe do that one too. So that's kind of like my goal. So we'll see. I mean, I gotta save up and see what happens here. But listen, Graham. So since your first time on the show, I totally spaced. I should have told you this before we hit record. But I like to do a little icebreaker questions. Just 3 of them, super easy. The first one being, who's your all-time favorite wrestler?
You're never going to believe this. No one ever believes this. My favorite all-time wrestler, the guy that got me into professional wrestling, William Regal. William Regal is my all-time favorite because I'm on the younger side as far as like getting into it and stuff.
Yeah.
Although I'm 26, I only got into it when I was 14. Most people get into it when they're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got into it when I was in 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade. And I was already a big fan of the USA Network. I'd watch Monk on there. Psych. They're my favorite 2 shows of all time. My 2 favorite shows of all time. Monk's on there, or Raw's on there too. Yeah. So I started watching Raw out of that, and my grandfather kind of got me into it too. And William Regal was at that point in time the Raw general manager. So like I fell in love with that, and I love the fact that he was like this evil authority figure, and he was running the show, and he was also a wrestler. He just won King of the Ring. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. So like he got me into it. I loved everything William Regal. And this is at like the tail end of his career. This isn't like prime Regal in the ring. It wasn't like the funny thing is that it wasn't even a match that got me into WWE or wrestling or whatever. It was like the storylines and the characters. That's what really enticed me about it. So yeah, William Regal. And then in addition to him, CM Punk is one of my all-time favorites as far as like active performers. He's still coming back. So you can only imagine how elated I was when he came back recently to wrestling. Punk, Regal, and Matt Hardy's always been he's been a friend of mine. He's a great guy, and more of on the personal side as far as one of my favorites. But those are probably my top 3. Specifically, Regal is probably my number 1. But William Regal.
That's great. I mean, I still remember him as Steven Regal in WCW, and that famous match with Goldberg and all that stuff. No, that's great. So, okay, second question: all-time favorite wrestling match. Just, any match that just, you could throw it on anytime and it just never gets old for you.
Oh man, that's a great question. My go-to answer for the long, and it probably still is, I think my favorite match of all time still is CM Punk versus John Cena and Money in the Bank 2011. I mean, I always go with the matches that I was a fan for. Obviously, there's a lot more before that I could say. I went back and I watched over the course of a number of years, not, in a row. I went back and watched every WWE pay-per-view on the network. So I've seen every pay-per-view there has ever existed from WWE, dating back to the 80s. And it was I reviewed every single one. It was a giant project of mine. It was a goal. It took me 3 years, I think. And I tried to do like one a week or whatever. And I ended up doing it. A lot of great matches, a lot of great shows, a lot of great moments. Obviously I'd be remiss if I didn't say Shawn Michaels versus Taker from WrestleMania 25. I mean, that was my first WrestleMania as a fan. I didn't even watch it. I watched it like months later. I'm like, wow, this match is amazing. But I think still Punk and Cena. I've been there for a lot of great matches in person. I'm trying to like Bayley and Sasha Banks from TakeOver Brooklyn is also among my favorite matches of all time because I was there for that one. Any of the AJ Styles, John Cena matches, I absolutely love. Yeah. I'm definitely blanking right now. I'm sure there's more I'm not even thinking of.
That's fine. No, full disclosure, like yesterday at work, I don't know why, I was on my lunch break and I just need like a little pick-me-up. Yeah. On a side note, so our digital department, they posted a story about Limp Bizkit's new album. And I was like, oh, okay. And then My Way got in my head. And then I was like, I need to watch the promo for WrestleMania 17 Austin Rock. Right? So I just threw it on while I was eating my lunch and I was just rewatching it. I was just getting like so amped up. And that's arguably maybe the greatest promo for a match, WrestleMania match. So I just watched that and it just got me fired up again. And, so for me, like WrestleMania 17, Austin Rock, that's like my personal favorite. I mean, it's kind of like my go-to answer as well. But I remember like as a kid, Hogan, Andre. Now, the match was not that great from a wrestling standpoint, but just the size and what it meant for like pop culture and for the company and just all that stuff. So I remember as a kid, I always loved, I wasn't like, being super technical about the wrestling, but just the spectacle. I was like, oh my God. So that was always great. Okay. Last question. Wrestling bucket list. What in pro wrestling is something you personally want to do? Now, I always give mine as an example, just if that helps narrow it down. For me personally, I would always love to go to Japan, go to the Tokyo Dome and see a Wrestle Kingdom in person. That's just my personal bucket list item. A buddy of mine once just be put through a table one time. That's so it's such an open-ended, wide question. But is there anything in pro wrestling you want to either see or accomplish? I'll leave it kind of open-ended for you.
Yeah, that's a great question too. I had a literal bucket list, an actual list of things I wanted to accomplish that I started maybe 7 to 8 years ago. One for the longest time was to go to WrestleMania, because I had grown up never having gone to a WrestleMania before, and I started watching in 2008. It wasn't until 2017 I finally got to go to my first Mania, the one that you mentioned earlier as a fan, WrestleMania 33. And I was just graduating from college, and I was like, I told my parents, I'm like, listen, everyone gets to go to Cancun for their senior break. Like, the parents will take care of it, whatever. Like, whatever. It's a big thing. I don't care about going to Cancun. I don't care about going anywhere. If you could just help me pay to go to WrestleMania, that's all I want. Like, just help me just buy the plane ticket. That's literally all I want as a graduation gift. Is I want to go to WrestleMania. And it was in Orlando, and it was such a great time. I love Florida. So yeah, that was great. But beyond that, I had so many. I wanted to go to like the Big Four, and the only major pay-per-view I haven't gone to. I've been to Hell in the Cells and Money in the Banks and Extreme Rules and stuff like that. Okay. Never been to Survivor Series. That's like the one show I've never been to. And of course, in 3 weeks from when we speak right now, it's at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. I don't know if I'm going yet. And even if I don't go to this year's, and I'm obviously in Connecticut as a disclosure, if I don't go to this year's, they're in Boston next year. So I'm bound to go to one of them. It's right near me. So that's kind of off the list because that's bound to happen either this year or next year. Beyond that, I don't know. I've always wanted to do like a 1 day, not fully pursue it, but like a 1 day training seminar to see what it would be like to be a wrestler. I do not want to wrestle. I have never told myself I want to become a professional wrestler. I've always loved the booking aspect of it, stuff like that. I love playing like the general manager mode in the video games. I still play that to this fucking day. So just to do 1 day as that would be cool. And
just take a bump.
Exactly. Just to take a bump and then, God. Just to get my ass kicked for a day. So why not? Just to say that I've done it, that. And then like, I have a whole like interview dream list that I kind of put together a couple months ago, because I always wanted to talk to like, never thought it would actually happen, like a William Regal or a CM Punk. And I've talked to both of them in the span of like 7 days around WrestleMania time for different reasons. It just worked out that Punk had a movie to promote, and Regal, like I asked the company multiple times for months, I want Regal. I want Regal. Like it's such a weird request because he's not doing anything, and he's such like he's a big name, but it's like, he's the GM of NXT. And they eventually were like, oh yeah, absolutely. And I was able to talk to him about TakeOver. So I want to interview The Rock. I mean, that's so like far out there. It may never happen, but I want to talk to The Rock about anything. I don't even care what it is. That would be the ultimate dream. So those are a couple of things that come to my head. I'm sure there's more. But those are a few quick items though. That's
great. No, because I'm with you. It's like, obviously my goal is to interview Stone Cold Steve Austin. I was able to a few years ago was awesome. he was doing a radio tour promoting his old the game show he was hosting, Broken Skull Ranch, like the challenges. Remember that?
The Country Channel.
Yeah. So he was doing a radio tour promoting that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And so I interviewed him there. So that was just a lot of fun talking to him. And it was the day after, oh my God, the pay-per-view that was at Staples Center. God, what was it? Was it, I'm totally spacing. It was a show. It was not a Big Four pay-per-view in LA, but it was, Roman Braun Strowman, I think. Oh, I'm totally spacing which one it was. But anyway, it was just cool because, like, on those radio tours, you only get like maybe 10 minutes with them.
Like nothing, it's still a lot of time. It's a lot of time, but it's like no time at all,
Like for me, it's like I had more in-depth questions I want to get to. But as you know, someone who interviews a lot of people, in order to get to there, you got to kind of build up to that question. You just want to say, hey, tell me about your last night ever in pro wrestling. What happened? Like, it's like, no, you got to work your way to that. But at one point, I forgot something happened in the pay-per-view and we just wanted his opinion on it. And then he asked, what do you guys think about it? So I'm like, oh my God, like I'm just talking wrestling with Stone Cold. Like he's asking for my opinion. Now, pardon me, I just kind of wonder if he just didn't watch the show yet. And so he was like bouncing it back towards me. But, but for me, I'm like, oh no, he just wanted to talk wrestling with me. That's all it was. But, so anyway, that's awesome to hear. I love hearing that stuff because it's always cool. I always get like different answers from people. So it's just, it just shows how awesome pro wrestling is as far as, all the things we get to do, see, and experience. So I love hearing that. So, all right. So let's go ahead and jump into, the main topics for this week. And so, here we are, we're recording on a Saturday, and this past Wednesday, some huge breaking news in the pro wrestling world that I think everyone was just shocked by was this announcement of Ring of Honor. And long story short, they're, in the new year, they're going to take the first 3 months off and go on quote hiatus. And in the meantime, everyone's getting a release. I guess I'll go ahead and read the tweet here. So for anyone who doesn't know, but I'm sure most of you probably know it already. But this is what they tweeted out the other day. So throughout the pandemic, our top priority was to keep everyone healthy and safe. And despite not producing any live events over 18 months, we were able to keep everyone fully contracted and now find ourselves at a time where we need to make changes to our business operations and are planning a pivot for Ring of Honor with a new mission and strategy. The year will culminate with Final Battle in December, and we'll be taking the first quarter of 2022 to work internally to reimagine ROH. ROH has the most dedicated fans in the industry, and we appreciate their loyalty and patience as we conceptualize ROH, and we anticipate returning to live events in April for the Super Card of Honor with a new fan-focused product and provide a unique experience for wrestling fans. Wow, so much to unpack right there. And then all the reports of all the outlets were covering and like more of the news, Dave Meltzer, Alvarez, all these guys were like more news coming out. So there's a lot to unpack here. So Grant, I'll just start with you, just your initial overall thoughts when you heard the news about Ring of Honor and what they're going to be doing over the next few months.
I was shocked. So we'll talk about Dynamite in a little bit. We picked the perfect time to talk because I was actually at the show in Boston on Wednesday. So it was cool. But I bring that up because I left in the afternoon. I ended up getting in the area like around 5 or 6. The news broke while I was driving to Boston. So like I sat down. I think I was getting food or something with my friend. And I looked at my DMs on Twitter. And then one of my friends, like we have an ongoing DM chat or whatever. And one of them said, "Oh, what a shame about Ring of Honor." I'm thinking, what happened to Ring of Honor? I haven't even looked at my timeline yet. So I go to my timeline, I see the tweet. I'm like, oh man, that is wild. That is crazy. Yeah. And like some people might be thinking like, I haven't really heard a lot about Ring of Honor lately, so this isn't really overly surprising, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. As someone who has closely followed Ring of Honor for the past, it's been around for 20 years. I've only started really getting into it like in 2014, 2015. I've been watching every show since, and I became a big fan. Like some of the most fun I've ever had at a wrestling show was at Ring of Honor. Okay. I brought in various people. I brought, a friend from college. I've brought in my brother. I've brought in friends. I've brought a lot of different people. Every single person I've ever brought to a Ring of Honor show, my girlfriend, anyone, her brother, they've all loved it. It's like some of the most fun, even for people that don't like wrestling, will enjoy a Ring of Honor. And they just haven't been the same since the Elite left a couple of years ago. Yep. And it's been kind of like a gradual decline ever really since I was at the Supercard show at Madison Square Garden a couple of years ago in New York City. Great time, but
lucky man.
I don't know. It was awesome. I was there. I got tickets like at the last second. Like, dude, it was wild.
I was stuck on the other side of town at the Hall of Fame ceremony watching Bret Hart get attacked by that crazy guy with the fake dreadlocks. But anyway, sorry.
I remember that. I remember reading about that when I was sitting there. I'm like, what the hell just happened? It was a crazy night.
Sorry, not to cut you off, but we're sitting there and we're like, it wasn't that filled and we're like, everyone's at Madison Square. Yeah, everyone's at Madison Square Garden right now. We're watching some crazy lunatic try to jump one of the greats of all time. So, but anyway, sorry.
That's another thing. I'll throw that as a bonus item on my bucket list of going to a Hall of Fame. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but just to say that I've gone, I would like to do that at some point.
It's great. It is really it is kind of it is magical. Just the history and the honoring of all these great talents and people who sacrifice their bodies for our own entertainment.
Exactly.
So it's great.
Yeah, no, for sure. But so anyway, it's been, a gradual decline of the last couple of years, unfortunately. And they've been putting out a great product ever since they brought it back about a year ago during the pandemic. No fans for most of these shows. The writing was kind of on the wall, but Sinclair owns them, and they're like this super well-known broadcasting company, whatever. So I never really thought anything would happen to it. Like Impact has had a lot of issues over the years, but for whatever reason, they've always survived. They've never had to stop doing shows. It is wild, and they're putting forth a great product now.
Yes.
But a couple of years ago, it was pretty scary, like with people leaving and a lot of stuff. And they have survived every single time. It's crazy.
Which I'm amazed for Impact as far as, I guess they're lucky because Dixie sold them off to Anthem, and Anthem owns a TV network or owns Access TV,
yeah.
so they're able to just put them on there and fill up, a couple hours every week. So I guess they benefit from that. But I'm with you. And of all wrestling promotions to go away, when you think of Sinclair, they're one of the biggest, TV companies out there.
Yep.
So, and that's just Ring of Honor is just one asset that they own. It's really surprised that this is all unfolding the way it is. Yeah, you would have thought Impact would be the one to kind of go based on what they've been going through the last few years. But I feel like they're on the up, and now I hopefully maybe they can benefit from this. But so there's been a lot of info. So I'm just trying to sum it up real quick as far as, okay, it looks like they're going to have another set of TV tapings in November and then Final Battle in December. All the contracted Ring of Honor people must be there. They're going to film their last set of stuff for all that. And then, they were throwing out the term release. More like, okay, if your contract expires at the end of the year, you're just not going to be renewed. So more or less, you're released from your contract from after that. They're not going to re-sign. And then for people who have contracts going on through 2022, they will get paid for that first quarter. And then after, I'm guessing, end of March, early April, that's when their contracts are going to be ending and they're going to be released from that point on. So a lot to unpack there as far as just the future of these wrestlers and what's next. I mean, obviously, our hearts go out to them because I'm sure they're all kind of like scrambling. Oh my God, what am I going to do with my career now? It's kind of been taken out from under me. But Ring of Honor has said that all these people are more than welcome to go out, take bookings ASAP. Go out there, go make your money elsewhere as fast as you can. It's kind of sucks though, 'cause it's kind of like a flooded of talent out there that's going out there. And then let's see, let me try to think what else. That was the main logistics as far as the details.
Oh, the tape library maybe?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the tape library as well. So now it's coming out. Well, originally the original report was like the Sinclair era when they bought them, post 2011, 2012.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Like the last 10 years, that is up for sale. And actually it's been up for sale for like the last year.
Yeah.
But then I saw actually on Wrestling Inc., there was like an update. The full library is up for sale. So I'm not sure which outlet to kind of go with.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, there is a part of, if not the whole thing, of the tape library for Ring of Honor up for sale. So yeah, we're kind of your thoughts about, the wrestlers, where they could potentially end up, and then also the whole tape library situation.
Yeah, the tape library thing is weird because, like you said, I heard that part of it was up for sale. I heard the whole thing was up for sale, and then I heard none of it was up for sale. Because I guess if it was, then WWE or AEW would have heard about it, and I guess no one in either company has been notified they were up for sale, and by this point they would have. So it might be up for sale. It's impossible to tell. I mean, they've owned the footage for a long time because they still use it for a lot of their shows. So, I mean, time will tell. We're speaking on Saturday now. The news is it's only 3 days old, but we're bound to find out more in the days to come. It doesn't really seem like anyone has an idea of what's going on aside from like the release of the talent stuff. That stuff's pretty clear cut, as you said. Everything you just said sounds like it's legit as far as like that's what's going to be happening. And this isn't like a couple of undercard people. The entire roster will be up for grabs come December, if not in the spring. So that's what makes me believe, and I don't want to be negative or anything, but this is why I don't think Ring of Honor is going to be able to bounce back from this or come back, because if they're releasing their entire roster, maybe some of them, but realistically, why would any of these people, I mean, I know a lot of these people have been there for a long time, don't get me wrong, but why would they want to see them? Maybe if Ring of Honor comes back, maybe they'll be signed again. Like, a lot of these people have so much potential. It's actually quite amazing for as little buzz as Ring of Honor has had in the last couple of years that they have so many talented people under contract. These aren't like no-namers. Like, there's a lot of top talent on their show. The fact they were able to maintain them for as long as they have is actually impressive. I don't see a lot of those people staying or sticking around saying, oh, let's wait to see if it comes back. There's so many different options now between Impact, WWE, and AEW. And a lot of these companies don't need more talent is the thing. That's the scary part. Like, I don't think... Like, people are thinking, oh, right, AEW is going to sign half their. Why would they sign half their people? There's already complaints of them signing too many. They just signed Tony Nese. And I'm like, Tony, I like the guy. Don't think Tony Nese needed to get signed. So, it's bizarre to me. It's bizarre. So many top talents, but we'll see where they go.
Yeah. So full disclosure, I'm not going to act like I'm this huge Ring of Honor fan. Because one, I mean, I lived here in the Bay Area, here on the West Coast my whole life, and Ring of Honor
Always East Coast.
Always East Coast. So I never got to see a Ring of Honor show, which I'm kind of bummed, but the one, I guess, loosely kind of Ring of Honor connection was, Cody Rhodes, when he was Ring of Honor champion, he did come out here to Bay Area and he was doing a bunch of, indie dates still before.
Oh, okay.
So if I remember correctly, when Ring of Honor signed these indie guys, they would have to finish out their indie dates before they exclusively were only Ring of Honor. Or
yes, and that was the case with Cody. Yes, I saw you a picture of you and Cody, and he had the Ring of Honor title, right?
Yes. Yeah. So each of those times, all those photos are when he would come to the Bay Area, and I first interviewed him as Stardust at WrestleMania years ago.
That's so funny.
So every time I see him, he's like, "Hey, Baby Huey." So
that's cool that he knows you. That's awesome.
Dude, okay, not to go another
He's
tangent.
a nice guy, though.
He is super nice. And, I always will support Cody Rhodes. But, when he was let go, or not let go, but released, and left, was that 2017? And then
2016,
2016,
I think,
yeah. And then a few months later, he started doing, his indie dates and stuff. Yep. He came out to the Bay Area for All Pro Wrestling. And for anyone listening, All Pro Wrestling is one of our big wrestling promotions out here, featured on oh my God, I'm totally blanking, the documentary in the 90s, Bret Hart,
Wrestling with Shadows?
Yeah, with Punch Vince McMahon and stuff.
Yes.
So All Pro Wrestling was the one that was featured in that documentary. But anyway, he came, and keep in mind, I had not seen Cody for a couple years at that point. And he was Stardust at WrestleMania, and, he did a bunch of interviews that day. Why would he remember just a random person like me? I swear to God, I went up to him to go say hi, and he's like, "Baby Huey." And I was like, "What? Dude, you remember me?"
Yeah.
Ever since then, I've even more of a fan. It's dude, that respect. You remember some random radio guy from the Bay Area.
Name too.
I guess that's partly the thing. Yeah, if he just knew me as Danny, people were like, "What? Who's Danny?" There's a lot of Dannys out there, but yeah, Baby Huey, I guess it does stick. But
yeah.
So with Cody, he was doing, indie dates. And I think, when Ring of Honor, his contract, or he, had to go exclusive with them. But he was finishing out his dates, and he was Ring of Honor champion. So he brought the title. He actually did, quote, defended that night against Willie Mack. So I guess technically I got to see a Ring of Honor World Championship match.
Oh, that's funny.
On an APW show. He defended that night. He defeated Willie Mack. And so I guess I could say I saw, Ring of Honor World Championship match. But, no, so anyway, what I'm saying is, I always knew about Ring of Honor as this company. I mean, obviously started late 2002. I mean, I remember when Eddie Guerrero was there for a minute to kind of get himself back on track, and all the amazing talent that came through there. Obviously CM Punk, Samoa Joe, Bryan Danielson, the list goes on. I felt like a lot of the big names we know today, they got their start there or at one point worked there. So I know about its legacy and its impact in the pro wrestling landscape. But like I said, I wasn't super keeping track of it over the years, just because, like I said, it was on the other side of the country for me. But nonetheless, in the last few years, I really started kind of paying attention to it more, obviously with Cody being there and the rise of the Elite and their popularity and their incarnation of the Bullet Club. So I was like, okay, they're starting to get some buzz now. And now that I'm older and with the internet and everything, I'm able to keep track of everything much better. So with that being said, it's just, like I said, I wish I would have seen Ring of Honor in person, but, what I'm getting at is I during the pandemic though, within the last year, I started watching them more regularly as far as watching their big pay-per-views. I wasn't watching the weekly shows, but I was watching the big pay-per-views, and I was really liking what I was seeing. I mean, these are not super big names. Sure. But, this kind of current roster post the whole Marty Scurll situation stuff, I was like, let me check these guys out because, I'm at home during this pandemic, not going anywhere. Let me watch some more wrestling. Sure. And so I was trying to watch more Ring of Honor. And so this current crop, I was really digging them too. Yeah. And so that's why I feel so bad that, they're all out of work now. And, I mean, that final battle show is probably going to be really epic as far as them going all balls to the wall, really perform. Hopefully, yeah. And, I think one report says they're going to kind of almost like a book closure or, a final chapter. Sure. So I'm kind of wondering how that is going to play out. But, let me ask you this. As far as the tape library, who should get it? I mean, it's easy to say WWE, but, you know, I kind of wonder if AEW will go after it, because they do have a lot of guys there who were at Ring of Honor more recently. And then that way they can have more content if they want to do their own streaming service, or maybe do something with HBO Max. I don't know, like, who do you think should ultimately get that video library if they have the right bid for it?
I would say AEW. I mean, WWE, like you said, is the go-to answer. And if you asked me a couple of years ago, I probably would have said WWE, because the network has so much great content. It's all on Peacock now.
Yeah.
And the organization of the content on Peacock is terrible.
Yeah.
It's awful. I am not a fan of at least for us here in the U.S., other people in other countries, even Canada, I have friends over there that don't have that issue. But with the Peacock, it's not good. The jump so far, they've gotten everything up there. The pay-per-views don't have the greatest streaming quality, and oh man, it's terrible. They're not even putting up as much content as they used to, as far as like the documentaries and stuff. It's awful. So again, with that being said, I would probably go AEW. Like you said, they have a lot of their guys. Like, really, without Ring of Honor, I'm not sure AEW would even be around, like, because they help co-produce All In. Ring of Honor owns the All In pay-per-view. So if AEW buys the rights to it, they have the rights to the All In stuff too. Yeah. So I'd have to say AEW. It's
and that'll be interesting, you know, for them. It gives more, you know, like I said, more content. Everyone's fighting for content right now for these streaming services. So for them to get that and just be like, hey, you're a fan of the Elite, all right, check out pre-Adam Cole or pre-NXT era of Adam Cole here in Ring of Honor. And then, you know, when they're doing like maybe these promo packages to set up these feuds for like they can show like some of this old footage and say, look, these guys have known each other for a long time pre AEW's existence. So I think that'd be kind of cool from just a presentation standpoint. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see who gets the bid or the highest bid. I mean, and even how much of it's worth, because didn't Vince McMahon buy WCW's library for like just only $1 million or something? It was like
nothing,
like really cheap in 2001. And so, be interesting, what they get. But let me ask you this, because when I hear that the tape library is up for sale, I'm like, well, if Ring of Honor is supposed to come back in April, why are you trying to sell off your assets now? Like, wouldn't you want to wait till the company comes back and then, you know, like, because they say TV is not going to be canceled during the hiatus. They'll show like old matches. And
that's what I heard too. Yeah.
So, but that's my concern is though. It's like, okay, we in a perfect world, they'll take the 3 months off. They'll come back in April and just do their thing again, trying to get some momentum going again. But if you're selling off the library, like I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but it's like, I wonder if that's a sign that maybe, you get what I'm saying? It's like, why you sell off your assets if you're planning on coming back? Wouldn't you want to keep that? So when you do the relaunch, you could be like, hey, you missed us? All right, check out all this old footage still on the our own library or Honor Club or something. So it doesn't,
it's not looking good.
It doesn't sit well with me, just that part of it. So, that's my other thing too, is I guess the other thing too, for Ring of Honor, for anyone listening, what would you rank Ring of Honor as far as like their legacy, as far as, at one point, would you say they were the third largest promotion in North America? I mean, I was trying to like power rank in my head.
Yeah.
Like WWE's always been number one. Impact or TNA had at one point was probably number two.
For sure.
And then, Ring of Honor. So that's why it's kind of a big deal. They do have a big following and stuff. So
yeah, no, I would agree with that. They were definitely number three for the longest time. And then before AEW stole a lot of their thunder, a lot of it. So
it makes you just wonder, though, if Sinclair would have maybe just invested some more money, give these guys bigger contracts, or...
Yeah, but it's weird because I feel like they did a lot of that, because I think part of it, too, is, at least for me, I mean, I don't know, most people feel this way, but with any show, a big reason why I don't really watch New Japan consistently is that it doesn't air like, all right, Mondays at 8, like with Raw. I mean, Raw, for as bad of a show as it is, I know when to watch it. I know where to watch it, and I have easy access to it. Impact. Not everyone watches Impact, but it's on YouTube. It's on Twitch. It's on this channel, 8 p.m. every Tuesday or Thursday, whatever. It's Thursdays now. So like that's what it, for me, it is. Like New Japan doesn't really have that. I mean, obviously it's a different country. It's a little bit different. I'm not subscribed to their service, so I'll watch Wrestle Kingdom. But that was the issue with Ring of Honor. Like now in the last year or two, they've been airing their shows on Fight. on Mondays, which was good. But before that, they didn't have like a regular presence on TV. They were on Destination America for about 6 months to a year. Yeah. And that was when I thought, okay, they might actually surpass TNA here, because TNA, that was around the time they were having issues. They got booted from Destination America. Ring of Honor just joined Destination America. Yeah. So it's like, okay, some things are happening here. And it just didn't really end up going anywhere. And then like there was a point, dude, where like in early 2018, or even 17 actually, they brought in the Hardy Boys. They had Cody Rhodes, Adam Cole, Jay Lethal. Like it was fire. Like you look at the roster back in like early 2017, it was the Young Bucks, the Briscoes. It was incredible. And they just lost one guy after another. And in the past, when they used to lose people, they lost a lot of people 10 years ago. Like Rollins used to be there and people like that. They would always replenish the pot. It came to a point where they couldn't replenish the pot anymore, and they just weren't creating new stars. They just didn't have the buzz. They just, I don't know. And I enjoy the product, so it kills me to say that. But I feel like that's, and losing the Elite was huge. And a big part of the problem, too, is that I felt like they put a lot of their eggs in the Elite basket. So when the Elite left, they didn't really have anyone else to kind of look to.
And case in point was the Elite were still there when they announced the Madison Square Garden show.
Yes, exactly. That's why I bought tickets. Yeah.
So the joint show with New Japan. And that was April 2019. Keep in mind, AEW started January 1st, or when it got announced officially was New Year's Day 2019. And so originally the Elite were going to be there, and now they're gone because they started AEW. And so, I mean, the Madison Square Garden show was still amazing, but like the New Japan stars really carried it, if I remember correctly. I wasn't there, but so they carried that show. And then that's when they kind of started going down a little bit. But it makes you just wonder if Sinclair would invest a little bit more in the production, the stars, the talent, like what AEW is accomplishing now, if Ring of Honor could have been that. I don't know. I mean, it's a what if. It's always going to be a what if now.
For sure. Yeah.
And so, with that being said, it's going to be interesting to see what they come back. I mean, like in a perfect world, they'll come back in April and they're going to keep doing their thing. But it's going to be interesting to see what, I think it was a Meltzer reported that it's going to be more like an independent wrestling promotion style, as far as no contracts. They'll just bring people in and just work these shows, kind of like PWG does it, GCW. So I'm like,
that's crazy. I just don't think that's going to work. I mean, I don't think that's you can't really revolve like storylines and a TV show around that. And how many big stars are they actually going to have? That's the thing.
Yeah, it's like who knows who's going to be around, because who are you going to put your titles on? Because you look at like MSK.
Exactly.
MSK was the PWG tag team champions when they got signed with NXT, and so they just had to forfeit the titles. They never actually lost them. So, when it comes to putting titles on people, hopefully these people can show up on the shows regularly, or they can go sign elsewhere, and you're kind of SOL at that point. So it's gonna be really interesting. I want them to come in a perfect world. I want them to come back, just giving people a place to work. That's my main thing. But do you think this might be a sign that the wrestling bubble might be popping a little bit, as far as everyone's been praising the last couple of years? There's been a lot of places to go work, but there's only so many spots open. I hope this doesn't mean like we hit the peak already and now we're coming back down to more reality, as far as not all these promotions can survive. I don't know. I mean, with the pandemic.
No, I agree. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's a weird situation. I totally agree with what you mean. I mean, it is a great time to be a fan right now, and thankfully there's a lot of places to go. It's not like WCW when they closed. I mean, Ring of Honor and WCW, but like, it's not like when Ring of Honor closed that WWE, it was WWE or bust. Like they either brought you in or you didn't, and you were kind of screwed at that point. And then TNA kind of started soon after. At least there's places to go. The problem is that all these places really feel like they've kind of hit their limit. Like they're not looking for a lot of new talent. There's a lot of talent coming from Ring of Honor. It's weird, man. I don't know. We'll see. If I had to take a guess, if you're asking me, I don't think they're coming back. I don't. I just don't see it happening. I just feel like it's too far or too much time is going to go by. They're going to lose a lot of people. It's not going to be the same. And Ring of Honor was already kind of on its last legs anyway. Yeah. So I don't see it coming back. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know if the bubble's popping, but it's weird. I can understand where you're coming from, though.
I hope, though, like you said, Impact Benefits can sign some people and beef up their roster. Like I say, I'm with you. AEW's got a ton of talent. There's a lot of people who are not on TV because their roster's so stacked. WWE, obviously. New Japan, America, they have like the strong show in that roster.
Yeah.
Maybe they can benefit, and just, indie promotions and GCW, MLW, NWA. Hopefully all these people can, use them. And that's why I can't stress enough. Like, if there's an independent wrestling show in your area with these stars, go out there and support them. Buy their merch or watch it on IWTV, whatever you could do to support the independent promotions, because these people are trying to work. And I'm already excited because West Coast Pro Wrestling out here in the Bay Area, they announced already Alex Shelley and Bandito coming in December now. Wow. So I'm like, oh my God, I get to see two of these guys in person now. This is great.
Awesome.
So I'm excited for that aspect of it. So anyway, I know we can go on and talk Ring of Honor. There's, like I said, there was so much to break down with the news, with all that Ring of Honor. Just it's shocking, really, and just a lot of people online were just really upset. And I think they're all just fans, and they just they we love our wrestling. We don't want to see anyone go away. We want to see everyone succeed together. So
yep.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right. Let's move on over to this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. Finally back on Wednesday night, not a Saturday night edition. This didn't necessarily affected you, but actually for me, it was live at 5 p.m. here on the West Coast.
Yeah, they started doing that now. Yep.
For the rest of the year, because of the hockey now, Wednesday nights at 7 Eastern time, or I guess 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. my time. So AEW's live. What I had to do before was either I'll use the TNT app and put on my Roku, and I can get the East Coast feed up there. So that's how I can watch it. Or on my Xfinity as well, I would put it on my phone and use my Google Chromecast to watch it. So
there you go.
But now I can just log onto my regular cable and just watch it just fine. So
yeah, that's awesome.
It's going to be like that for the rest of the year before they make the jump to TBS. But, I just want to get your quick overall thoughts on this week's episode of Dynamite. Then we'll go through some of the major highlights from it.
I thought it was a good show. I enjoyed it. I was actually at the second ever Dynamite in that same venue in Boston 2 years ago. So it was great to be back for it. We kind of talked about it a little bit before we got started here, but good wrestling, not a ton of like major takeaways, but we'll talk about, Punk and stuff like that. But it was a good 2 hours. I mean, I've been to a lot of wrestling shows, and it reminded me of WWE in the sense that they tape a lot of content in 4 hour time. It was a long night. Like I got there at 7 o'clock and they were taping stuff until after 11. So they taped Rampage after Dynamite. So this week's Rampage was taped after Dynamite. They've been doing that a lot lately. Before this week, like when they were on Saturday with Dynamite, it was a weird schedule, obviously. So they did Rampage live and then Dynamite live in two different places on 2 different nights. For the most part, though, other than that, they've taped Rampage right after Dynamite in the same building. Okay. And it's just tiring. So it's not like, it's 10:02, like Eastern time. Dynamite just ended. Let's get right into Rampage. Dude, there was like a 20-minute period after Dynamite ended where there was just like nothing. Like they were cleaning up the ring. I mean, I understand. I'm not a stage crew guy, but I've been to a lot of WWE shows where like one show ends and they have to tape another one right into it. Like they're going right into it. AEW took like 20 minutes. I'm like, what is going on here? So thankfully, the crowd was still into Bryan and Kingston and stuff. Great match. But by the time the main event rolled around, it was like 11 Eastern. Baker and Abaddon didn't even start yet. I'm like, I got to get out of here. I mean, I'm exhausted. So
oh my God.
It was a late night. It was a great time though. Great time overall.
So did they film Elevation before they went live with Dynamite?
Yeah.
So how long is Elevation? Was that like an hour or
So I got there a little after 7 Eastern time, and I'm thinking, okay, I probably missed the first few matches, but I got there like 7:15, and just as I started to go sit down, they were just beginning to tape. So it started like 7:15, about 4. It was about not even 45 minutes because they stop a couple of minutes before they go live. So about 40 minutes worth of Elevation matches. They're all mostly quick squashes, but yeah.
So they filmed like 3 shows over a span of like 4+ hours. Out there. Man, that's crazy. But
matches,
but if anyone's gone to a WWE show, you've seen them. They'll film main event before Raw starts, and back in the day, they film 205 Live before or even afterwards
after
SmackDown. That's right. So I mean, if anyone's been to a live big show like that, you've seen that they'll film multiple stuff in one setting. So man, that's crazy. I really want to go to an AEW show. I mean. Hopefully they come out here soon. I mean, with Vegas, it's Double or Nothing. Maybe they're on the West Coast. Maybe they can capitalize on that and like do some stuff out here on the West Coast. So we'll see what happens. But so the first match was CM Punk taking on Bobby Fish. It was CM Punk's debut on Dynamite Wrestling, which was like, really? I guess, all his matches so far have been on Rampage or on pay-per-view. But this is following up from last Saturday where CM Punk made the save and beat up Bobby Fish was beating up, oh my God, the guy who was in NXT.
Anthony Green,
Anthony Green. Yeah, August Green. But made the save. So, CM Punk, Bobby Fish had their match here. And I don't know about you, I really enjoyed the match as far as the storytelling.
Yep.
As far as Bobby Fish was working CM Punk's knee and just working on that. And even at one point when CM Punk was on the top rope, went for the elbow, he had to jump off one foot. And, was really selling that part of it. And then even, when he hit the go to sleep on Bobby Fish, he used his left knee, and then he didn't go for the pin right away. He was selling his knee. He was like in pain, like, ow, I used my knee that he was beating up on.
Yeah.
Crawled over. It was a delay reaction, and then he made the pin. And even Bobby Fish, he had enough time to, I guess, heal up. And, I don't know if it was a botch, but in my head, I played it off as, well, CM Punk took so long to make the pin. He had enough time to recover. And even when the ref hit 3, he, was trying to kick out still. But I really enjoyed this match. And it was also very fitting with the Ring of Honor news. You had two OG Ring of Honor guys wrestling this first match on Dynamite. But for you, what'd you think of this opening match here?
I enjoyed it. I liked it. Pretty much everything that you just said. I thought they told a good story. Action was entertaining, worked well together. Fish is so far delivered in the short time with AEW. I think they found a great role for him as kind of like a stepping stone for bigger guys. Like he wasn't ever going to go in there and beat CM Punk or Bryan Danielson, but he can go in there, have a quality match. The guy's like 40-something, 44, 45, but he can still go in there and have a good match. He's a great asset to AEW, which I enjoy. The finish was weird. Like you said, I thought he had kicked out before 3. That's what it looked like to me. I mean, you guys got a better view on TV than I did in the arena, but it was weird. But the finish came off a little odd, and I thought they botched it. Maybe not. I don't know. But it was what it was. The overall match was good, though. Punk has been having quality matches since he came back to wrestling. And they kind of teased his next opponent on Rampage, that being with Eddie Kingston, probably at Full Gear next month or in a couple of weeks or whatever. So, I really enjoyed this. And I think we'll get into it now, but I think the way they've used CM Punk so far, to me, has been good. Like, he hasn't had direction as far as like no feuds, and he's been here for 2 months now, so it's kind of a little weird. The Kingston thing to me has got to be more than a one-off match. Everything he's done so far, all 5 matches have all been one-off matches. He's got to have a full-fledged feud, and I think he's going to have that feud with Eddie Kingston going into Full Gear.
Okay, and that's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up as far as, okay, he's been here a couple months now. I've seen on Twitter and some other shows talk about it. They're just getting frustrated with CM Punk, thinking his run thus far has been just very underwhelming. And I get that. There's not been a lot of meat there as far as these big feuds. They're like more one-offs. I think it's part of a bigger story. It's like, listen, I think we're so used or conditioned when, like WWE, a veteran comes back and they get pushed right away. Like Goldberg, for example. I'm just throwing it out there. As an example, someone who comes back, who's a legend, and they're in the main event scene already. I think a lot of people are conditioned to that. I think CM Punk, it looks like the story they're trying to tell is he's been gone for 7+ years. He's got to get used to wrestling again, and he's starting more like on the lower tier opening matches, maybe more the mid card, the younger guys, and just getting his legs back together. I think it's that simple, and I think it's going to lead to a bigger story, into bigger feuds. And case in point, Eddie Kingston here. As far as, jumping ahead to Rampage, we saw, Eddie Kingston lost to Bryan Danielson, and CM Punk's doing an interview with Tony Schiavone, and Eddie Kingston's pissed off, interrupts it, and more or less, they have a little back and forth. It looks like, okay, these two are gonna start a program together. So I'm actually excited for that. And so I mean, that's the thing. Is like, what do you think long term? How should they handle CM Punk moving forward? I guess I'm all for these opening matches and just kind of him getting refamiliar with the wrestling again, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I like it. I mean, he's been gone for so long, and I'm such a big fan of CM Punk, so I'm biased. But to me, just to see him out there, just to see him enjoying himself, having good matches, still cutting good promos. The crowd's going crazy for him. To me, that's enough. I think that's enough for him to just be, I mean, he can't be doing this for forever. He's not going to be coasting for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
I think it's part of a bigger story. I don't think they would bring in Punk without a plan. I mean, I think WWE might do that, but I think AEW is a bigger plan in place, as you mentioned, whether it be building wins for a future title shot or for a future feud with Kingston, maybe from there transition into a Punk Moxley feud because he's buddies with Kingston, or an MJF feud once he's free. I think they know what they're doing. We could get Omega and Punk as early as Revolution in January or February, whenever it is. Very possible. So I liked what they've done with him so far personally. We'll see where it goes.
Are you fine with him as a babyface? A lot of people are calling, he needs to be a heel again. Let him go crazy on the microphone, call out people. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, we've seen that before in WWE, the pipe bomb and stuff. Like, I don't know. I kind of want to hear him as a baby face.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's cool. I'm fine with him as a face for now because what he's doing and what he's saying, like, oh, I love being back. We didn't get this wholesome CM Punk in WWE because by the end there, he hated his like spot and everything. Like we got bitter Punk, even when he was a baby face. Like he was just fed up with the business. He was a little bit bitter. We never really got this Punk where he's like happy to be there Punk. We never got that in WWE, I don't think. So just that, fired up, happy, smiling CM Punk, I love. Is he going to do that for the next 5-10 years? No, I don't think so. But I think for right now it works. And for people saying, oh, he's got to turn heel, give it time. He's not going to be here for 2 months. Like he's going to be here for a long time. Yeah. Let it play out. He will be heel at some point. And when that time comes, it's going to be awesome. So let's enjoy babyface CM Punk while we get it, because he's one of the rare people that can do both. And I'm loving what he's doing so far. Again, call me biased, but I'm digging it.
Right on. Also, we saw Sammy Guevara defend the TNT Championship against Ethan Page. I really enjoyed this match as well. Just the high energy and with the conditions or stipulations, I should say. If Sammy Guevara loses, obviously loses the title, but also loses, his place in the Inner Circle. If he wins, then he gets to choose who the other opponents will be for Ethan Page.
American Top Team,
American Top Team, Lambert and all that stuff. And so Sammy Guevara picks up the victory. Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky are going to attack Sammy Guevara. Inner Circle comes running out. It was great seeing Jericho back from the Jericho cruise with his nice tan and everything.
Yeah, right.
And so they make the save, and then Jericho grabs the mic and calls out Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. And so I guess next week they'll pick out who their three teammates are teammates are gonna be to challenge them for that 10-man tag at Full Gear. Any ideas who you think it might be? I think Lambert has to be one of them. Get the old guy in the ring.
If they're picking the opponents, I didn't really think about that, but that would make sense. I wasn't thinking that, but I mean, Masvidal. Who was the other guy? The guy that wrestled. He wrestled a week or two ago.
Yeah,
it was the one that wrestled against the Inner Circle and he won. The bald guy. I forgot his name.
I know. I forgot.
I'm not a big MMA guy.
Yeah, me neither. Okay, all right, good. All right.
We know who we're talking about.
Yeah. That guy.
Him, Masvidal, probably Lambert with Men of the Year. That would make sense. The feud's been fine. I think it's been okay. It hasn't been my favorite thing. It just kind of feels like it's there. I love the Lambert promos. I think he does great work. I enjoyed, Sammy and Ethan Page as a match. The stipulations kind of made it a little obvious that Ethan was going to lose. But I enjoyed the match. I think Sammy is a star. I feel like they should be putting more focus on the TNT title. I'd rather see that than the faction wars again. But it's fine. The feud's been okay. It's not my favorite thing or my least favorite thing, but it's been fine progression so far.
Yeah, and that's it. And just on a side note, like I love Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. Like it's just I was a little frustrated when Ethan Page came to AEW. I was like, great. He just came away, with Josh Alexander and Impact with the North. Give him a singles run. He could be a great heel, maybe for that mid-card scene. And he just joins another tag team with Scorpio Sky. And
oh, dude, I can't. I won't even go into it in great detail, but it bothers me to no end. Yeah, both of them, Sky too.
And it's like, why didn't he need Lambert to be their mouthpiece when Ethan Page is so good on the mic by himself? Like, he's like The Rock is his like biggest influence. Like, he knows how to talk on the mic. So it's like, Anyway, that's a whole nother issue. But anyway, it's fine. I guess that way you get the Inner Circle on the pay-per-view, get Jericho's star power, and that way he doesn't have to work like a full match by himself. He gets, the luxury of 4 other guys helping him out and stuff. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of is why they're doing another Inner Circle versus another team, faction versus faction, as you mentioned. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, no, Sammy Guevara, I'm with you. Total star. Very happy for him that he's the TNT champion. But, we saw Miro cut that promo later in the night. I wonder if Miro's going to go after the title again.
He probably will. If I had to take a guess, he probably will, yeah. He's
probably sitting out right now through Full Gear. Let Full Gear happen, and maybe later in November we'll start seeing him on TV again doing his thing. But also we saw Serena Deeb and Shida go at it for the women's TBS championship. The another one of the opening rounds here. I've been critical of Shida in the past, as an in-ring performer, but this is one of her better matches. But I gotta give major props to Serena Deeb. She is an amazing in-ring performer. The fact that she looks good and makes her opponent looks good, it very much reminds me of like Bret Hart and what made Bret Hart so special as far as he can, he's amazing, but, makes, his dance partner amazing as well. And the fact he was wearing pink, black and pink and white, it was like, right there, Bret Hart as well. But no, I love this match. How about you? What'd you think of it?
Totally agree. This was the best match of the night for Dynamite, and they're killing it. I was a little disappointed being in the arena and then seeing some people leave when the match started, like right before they rang the bell. I'm like, I don't know. I just don't understand that. Like, I guess it wasn't even like a bad, like if it was Penelope Ford versus like Abaddon or something, I get it. Cause I don't really care, but with a match like this, I know it's going to be a banger. Their first match was great. It makes sense. It's a tournament match. So for all the people that complain about like, AEW should be doing more with their women, which they should be, then why are you leaving during a Shida Serena Deeb match? That bothered me a lot when I saw that. People thankfully were back in time to see the second half of the match. It was killer. They did a great job. One of the better women's, if not the best women's match I've seen from this company in a while, if not ever. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and rewatch it. But it was very good. Enjoyed it. Finish was well done. Keeping the feud alive. Shida going full-blown heel afterward, which was great. Moreover than anything, I think it's awesome to only have a secondary feud in that women's division that isn't over a title and anything. I think it's, two prominent performers. We haven't seen Shida on TV at all since Double or Nothing, so it's about time they dusted her off and brought her back on TV. And then Shida is finally back from her injury and doing great work. So I'm a big fan of all this.
And that's the thing. I'm still shocked that she got her 50th win now. But like 50 wins, I guess, was she claiming a bunch of wins or building up a bunch of wins over on Dark and Elevation? Like,
yeah, it was Elevation.
Okay,
it was.
I was like, whoa, like, oh my God, her and Jungle Boy are now like the two top king and queen of win totals in AEW. But Serena Deeb, I just love how ruthless she was in this match and just nonstop aggressive attacking Shida, even doing the a figure four outside on the ring post. She used the stairs though, but very much like Bret Hart. And I was like, oh dude, great call back there. I mean, she is so good. Like, just
her very well done. Yeah.
I just got, and then after the match, she just beat the crap out of her some more, just gained some great heat. And like you said, it's nice to have another feud outside of like Britt Baker or the title scene. So that's what they need to really build up that women's division. So, any early predictions? Who do you think might win the TBS title for the women?
I've got Ruby Soho. I think Ruby Soho is going to win the whole thing. She just lost to Britt Baker. I think she kind of needs something. Jade and Thunder Rosa, I like them both. Yeah. But I think they're going to kind of cancel each other out and have their own match. I think Thunder Rosa's got to be the woman to beat. Got to be Britt Baker for the title. Yeah. So I would do that. Jade could win the whole thing. I would be fine with that too. I think she's a solid second choice. I think it's going to be Soho and Jade in the finals, and Ruby's going to win because I feel like we already have a heel champion for the women. We don't need another heel champion.
Oh, okay.
So that's my thing. I mean, that's not the only thing, but that's part of it. I just also don't think Jade is ready to be a champion yet, although they have built her up fairly well. So I'm going to go Soho as the first ever AEW TBS champion. So you
think Soho will be the first one to defeat Jade Cargill and give her first loss?
I think so, and I think her first loss should come in the finals. I don't think. I mean, I guess you could have Thunder Rosa beat her, but I think that'd be stupid. So I would rather see her beat Thunder Rosa in like whatever match they're facing off in.
Okay.
Jade continues all the way till the end, and then Ruby Soho wins the whole thing.
And then we saw, John Moxley take on Dark Order's 10, aka Preston Vance, as far as the world title eliminator tournament here. Didn't last too long. I mean, for you, it must have been awesome seeing Moxley, with the Wild Thing song and coming through the crowd.
Yeah, he was right underneath my section.
Okay, so he comes storming out, it just starts kicking the crap out of 10 and, rips the mask, bites his forehead, throws him in the ring pose. 10 starts gushing blood.
Yeah.
And Moxley kicks the crap out of him and gets the victory there. I mean, what do you think? I mean, obviously the match itself, and then Moxley, even, last Dynamite, cuts the promo, and he's like, mentally, his state of mind is he wants to get back that world title.
Yeah,
the only thing
just
that matters,
for his daughter. Yeah,
for his daughter, and like that's all he sees right now is that world title. And his daughter getting home to her. That's all that matters. Everyone else, he's out for blood. So, like, what do you think of the match itself, but also just Moxley's direction right now?
It's interesting. I don't think he's going to win the whole thing. I think it's going to be Danielson, but Moxley will make it to the finals. And I like the subtle, teases of a heel turn. I think that's where we got to go with this. I think he's better off as a heel. He's been here long enough. He's been here 2.5 years as a baby face. I would turn him heel. And I think the way he's going about it with the quick wins and the way he's dominating opponents and the more intensity is the right way to go. So I'm liking what they're doing with Moxley so far. This is the most interesting he's been since he lost the championship, I think. Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the thing too. I like how a little bit of, long form story, if it just by luck fell into this, but exactly. Yeah. As far as 10, with 10, like every time he faces Moxley, something bad happens. So remember, he got hurt and had was the bicep or something like that. Yeah,
yeah, and then he was out for a long time, and then now he got his head busted open. He got stitched up. So it's like 10. Every time he faces Moxley, he gets like a bad injury. So
I wonder in the ring with him again. Yeah,
exactly. So I wonder if down the road he'll finally get a victory over Moxley at some point. Maybe down the road.
AEW doesn't forget about that type of stuff. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. They'll connect the dots down the road.
Yeah.
All right, so a segment that everyone was talking about. I'm trying to figure out still how to interpret this whole thing. Cody Rhodes comes out, and man, like, just to sum it up, I mean, he more or less says, he's been wrestling all his life. Everyone's seen him since he was 20, with no muscles, no knee pads. He loves the fans. He hears everyone booing. But he has a hot wife. He has a brother that's a great wrestler. He's a Hall of Famer, and he's almost as good as him. Even if he lived to be 300 years old, he feels he won't have the same cultural impact that he had, like his dad did. I enjoyed the promo, but at the end he says he will not turn, which for me, my reaction, you're going to turn at some point now. But, yeah. It's a lot to unpack in this promo, and he really is addressing, the obvious boos from being Malachi Black last Dynamite, and just the direction of his character and just people reacting to him, the fan base. I don't know what is going on here with this promo. What do you think is going to be the story here for Cody Rhodes at some point?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not really sure. This promo was all over the place. I'll tell you that much. Yeah. No one really knew how to react. It was just, he's got to turn heel, but he's literally out there saying, I will not turn, which I think is the absolute dumbest thing to incorporate like wrestling terminology into your promos on the show. I think that I've always hated that. I think that's dumb. The fact that he's bringing up his family, like, why? No one asked about your family. I don't get it. He just did it for a cheap reaction. Yeah. It was just bringing up the pedigree and like, what are you talking about, dude? I like Cody a lot. I mean, we just got done talking about how cool of a guy Cody is. But as far as his on-air character lately, it's just been all over the place. And I just think it's stupid. Like, just bite the bullet and turn heel. Either that or you got to go away for a little while, which I feel like he's gone away and come back so many times. People are starting to resent him. So it's just not working. Whatever he's going for, I feel like he has a lot of ideas, and a lot of them just unfortunately just don't work, like with the weigh-in segment a couple of months ago and stuff like that. I mean, I enjoy Cody a lot, but I feel like they give him a little too much creative freedom with some of this stuff, and it just backfires. So
do you think when he made the reference, he said the fans, you guys cheer, I think he said the guy who had the money, I think he's referring to Tony Khan, having the money to fund
but
AEW.
I built the bank. Yeah.
But I hold the bank. So is he trying to say, like, keep in mind, like, maybe I'm reading too much into this, but like, keep in mind, if it wasn't him going on the indie scenes, becoming friends with the elite, joining the Bullet Club, ultimately forming this group, the core that ultimately formed AEW. Is that what he's referring to? Like,
that's how I interpreted it. Yeah.
Hey, like I started AEW, like, with me. So, and then, he took off his Nike shoes and threw them in the crowd. And is that supposed to be a dig at the Young Bucks and their shoe game? Like, it's interesting, kind of like the little Easter eggs here. I think a lot of people were trying to analyze. And so I don't know, like, I know Cody Rhodes is a big, like, Star Wars, Star Trek fan. He's a geek himself. He loves all that pop culture stuff, which is awesome. with Star Wars, was it Cody Rhodes who said he doesn't believe in baby faces and heels dynamic anymore?
It was probably him. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
So I wonder, like with Star Wars, there's Jedis, there's Sith, there's the light side, the dark side. And I'm not trying to act like I'm a big Star Wars expert, but I know, isn't there like a group of Jedi or people who are like in the middle? They're like gray as far as, I'm totally, my friends who know this are going to kill me for not knowing, but there's like a group of people who are directly down the middle. They do tendencies of Jedi stuff, but then they also do dark side stuff. So I wonder if Cody is trying to be as like, down the middle as best he can, and just
that's why he comes out through the middle of the ramp, maybe.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. He comes with a big spectacle, so like he kind of brings on some of this, this booing on himself. Like
he does.
So I don't know. Like I'm trying to really interpret where we're going here with this. Is this going to be really a slow burn? He's going to eventually turn heel.
Yeah.
But it's like maybe just do it already. Like it's all there. But even Malachi Black, he cut the promo earlier in the night, said it's not about wins and or pinfalls. It's like more than that. Do you think Malachi Black was trying to like he's gonna win the war still of like poisoning?
Yeah,
Cody's reputation. I don't know.
I'm intrigued. We'll see where it goes. I don't know. We don't know where it's going to go, so we'll see.
Exactly. So in the main event, we saw the Dark Order take on the Elite, pretty much in Halloween costumes. The Elite come out in Ghostbusters. Growing up, I loved the Ghostbusters, so I totally popped for that. And they had their own custom Elite Ghostbuster theme song.
Yep.
Dark Order were dressed up as well in costumes. Now the match, it's fun to watch. Very indie inspired.
Oh, very indie inspired, yeah.
But looking online, this match was very polarizing for a lot of people. As far as we've seen like WWE do a lot of like Halloween or whatever holiday theme matches, but usually those are reserved for maybe more comedic actors or the mid card. People, it's early in the show or midway through the show. AEW did this in their main event involving like their top faction, and ultimately, Dark Order pulls off the victory, and then we see Hangman Adam Page is revealed under the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and he attacks the Elite and gets one on Kenny, and they are going to have their match at Full Gear for the championship. So a lot of people are, maybe some of the old school people are a little frustrated that it's like you have your main event, your world title contenders in this goofy Halloween match. Is that the right way to really build up heat for their championship match? I don't know, like kind of what you're thinking of how this main event played out here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do got to get going in a minute. So this, okay. I'll say this before we get going, because I do want to talk about this. I don't know. There was, I love that you mentioned that, because I'm the same way. There were a lot of people that were saying, if you didn't enjoy the main event, you're not a wrestling fan. First of all, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, because listen, I thought the match was fine. I thought it was decent. But the thing is that I'm glad you said that, Huey, because I'm of the exact same mindset that I think it's the wrong time to be doing something like this with the people involved. If it was like a mid-card thing, I think that's cool. But the thing is, we got Paige and Omega in 2 weeks. Why are you focusing on the comedy crap before we get to that match? That's what I don't understand. I don't get that at all. And I love the Ghostbusters. Don't get me wrong. Pop for that. It was one of my favorite movies of all time. That back feature. Love it. All right. But I thought the fact they did it with those guys and the referee was down for most of the match. Thought it was dumb. So again, I'm a hot take. If I get a lot of hate for this, it's, what it is, what it is. You're the first person that's getting my opinion on this. So I'm telling you right now, Huey, I don't want the people with the pitchforks showing at my house tomorrow. But I don't know. I didn't like the comedy stuff. I thought it was the wrong time for it personally. Okay, cool. All right. And then last thing we'll talk about, just jump ahead to AEW Rampage. Sure. Probably match of the week was Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston, maybe, or one. Amazing. What are your thoughts watching that in person? Did you hear all the slaps from your seats like that loud? I did, yeah. It wasn't that far. I wasn't sitting too far. I wasn't front row or anything, but it was a great match. Fantastic. And I watched it back. I wasn't planning on watching Dynamite or Rampage, but I missed Baker and Abaddon, so I had to go back and watch that. Okay. So I watched Danielson and Kingston, and I was like, hopefully it comes off as well on TV as it did in person, and it definitely did. Yeah. Fantastic match. Bryan has been killing it since coming to AEW, and Kingston was awesome as well. And that's the thing, is like Bryan Danielson in his run so far with AEW, I love,
you know, he's not going so much for like the underdog style that he was known for in WWE. He is like a killer, and he's attacking, and he likes the slapping. We were joking before we recorded that I guess every match he wants his chest all red afterwards with all the slaps. So it was just amazing to watch. So much fun. And like,
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Wrestler of the year, totally, in my book already. So no, I mean, a lot of stuff with AEW that I really did enjoy. And I'm so geared up for full gear, no pun intended, for coming up in the coming weeks. But dude, I'm looking forward to. But dude, Graham, listen, thank you so much for making the time today. And so yeah, please let all the Kliqsters know where they can follow you and enjoy all your content as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks a lot. And I got to thank you first and foremost for having me on. I'm glad we were able to make this work. Like you said, we met back at SummerSlam. I look forward to seeing you at the next time. Yeah. Hopefully, whether it be the Rumble or Mania or whatever. But yeah, like you said at the beginning here, kind of everything you just said. WrestleRant is the main thing. So I'm on Twitter all the time at WrestleRant. People can find me there. Facebook, same thing. YouTube. The Brock Lesnar video ain't there anymore, but you can still subscribe for plenty more interviews and content over at Graham G. Matthews WrestleRant.
Dude, you are like the king. I see all your tweets of like, you watch and review everything, which is amazing.
To my detriment. So,
I mean, I applaud that. Like, that is like something I inspire or wanted to do, but
thanks, man.
You know, I do my best to, you know, like I try to do a couple episodes a week, one AEW focus, one WWE focus.
Sure.
It's a lot. No, but like I said, thank you for making the time. We got to do this again, maybe on a more regular basis. I love just, you know, your takes from your shows and just what you put on Twitter.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I just, you know, props for the hustle, man. I do respect all the hard work, so it does not go unnoticed. So,
thanks you. I appreciate it, man. It's so great getting to, you know, talk to you and meet you and getting to know you over Twitter. It's only been 2 months, and I feel like we've been friends for a year now. So
I know
I appreciate it.
Back to the Future is my favorite movie of all time as well. And
there we go.
I gotta show.
I know I liked you for a reason.
I gotta send you a photo. I know you gotta go, but like Huey Lewis came into the studio once, and I brought my Back to the Future DVD. He signed it from one Huey to another. So I was like,
is amazing.
Bam. I love this. So
That's incredible.
I'll just send you a photo.
Send me that pic, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter, Instagram at Baby Huey 83, at In The Kliq on social media as well. Subscribe to us on whatever podcast platform you get your audio at, including YouTube. Click that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, share the podcast, leave a rating, all that stuff to help the algorithm out. InTheKliq@gmail.com. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line because Huey said so.